So I wanted to talk about ASAP Rocky. I believe that's the young man's name. He's a rapper, and he was arrested in Sweden on assault charges about a month or so ago, and there was this whole debacle about whether he was going to get out and who was really at fault, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we all know what happened. I believe the boy looked to be, he was non-black, he was an other, but I don't think he was Caucasian per se. I think he was Middle Eastern or Arabic or something like that, which can be also be considered Caucasian because some of them are considered to be Caucasian, but that's neither here nor there. He wasn't another black person. And this boy was basically stalking ASAP Rocky and his team, and they kept telling him to leave them alone, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the boy did, but ASAP Rocky's bodyguards, they beat the shit out of the motherfucking boy. And I think they said ASAP hit him too. I'm not certain, but whatever the case may be, this was over in Sweden. He was locked up, and the president, Donald Trump, he spoke. He spoke on behalf of ASAP, saying that the Swedish government should release him, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what I wanted to talk about. But nevertheless, the charges, he was charged, but he won't do any more time. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about why, just the occult view as to why Donald Trump intervened and to why ASAP will not get any time. Well, he won't serve any more time. Let me say that. Number one, we have to look at it, from a perspective of, and I know a lot of people may not like this, but I don't give a fuck. We have to look at it from a perspective of a good coon, okay? The reason Donald Trump intervened on ASAP's behalf is because ASAP Rocky is the personification of the gentrified new black man. That energy that he inhabits is the energy of gentrification, meaning that ASAP Rocky does not like other black people. He does not like black people. He has said some things in the past that has very much indicated that he does not date black women and he really does not fuck with the black community. Now, let me be clear about this. This isn't personal. I really don't give a fuck either way whether he fucks with the black community or not. You know, I don't care. This isn't personal. So when people listen to this, I don't want you to think this is a personal attack on him. This is an occult assessment of what's really going on behind the scenes. That entire incident that took place in Sweden with him and that Arab boy, that was all a motherfucking ritual. That was all a fucking ritual. It was a ritual. That entire scenario, that Arab boy was put in place to do that. He was put in place to do that. That was all by motherfucking design. That did not just happen out of nowhere. That is why Donald Trump intervened. Because that was not just a coincidence. That was all by fucking design. You see, one thing about it is this. Black men, when they respond to white men or non-black men who are harassing them or doing things to violate them because that motherfucker, he deserved to get his motherfucking ass whooped. Let me just say that off the bat. I'm not taking up for him. He deserved it. He deserved to get his ass fucking beat. He deserved it. But what we have to look at and examine is how many times ASAP told him to stop following them. And we have to examine how black men, if it were me, they wouldn't have even told me to stop whatever, they probably would have just assaulted me because historically in this country, black men have always had more aggression and hatred towards other black people, particularly other black men. Their patience is very, very slim and short with other black men. They told him 3 times, look at the symbolism of three. They told him 3 times to stop following them. And they said it nicely. If that had been a black man that was following them and doing whatever that boy was doing, they wouldn't have said it once. They would have just beat the shit out of him. I've heard many stories of black male celebrities where fans, black male fans, were trying to get at them and they beat the person up automatically. We have to look and examine all of that, even within the response. The response is very, very important. See, I'm looking at it from an occult standpoint. The hidden message, what's behind it. You see what I'm saying? It's not about whether he likes the black community or not. I just mentioned that just to let you know who he is and where his mindset is, and that he is a gentrified black man. Gentrification is not just about, and I learned this from watching somebody else, and it was astonishing, and it made me put the pieces of the puzzle together about things going on here in DC. Gentrification is not just about moving indigenous people out of their place of origin. There's also a gentrification that's taking place on a physical and a spiritual and a mental and a psychological and an emotional level as well. Okay? And the fact that I have seen within the past, what, 10, 10 years, I should say, almost, maybe a little less, I've seen this pattern where black men, whether they're famous or not, they always have more patience with non-black men who come at them in an aggressive way or in a way to violate them. They always have more patience with them. They give them more leeway to violate them. If that were a black man, they would, like I said, and I'm going to repeat it. If that were a black man, they wouldn't have even told him once. They would have just beat the shit out of him. They would have just beat the shit out of him because black men historically are very aggressive and hateful towards one another. Those are just facts. But because he was a non-white boy, they told him, I mean, a non-black boy, and I don't think he was white either. I think he was Arabic, like I said in the beginning. But again, some of them pass for white, and they classify themselves as white, some of them. But because he was non-black, they gave him more leeway. You see what I'm saying? And this all ties into the psychological, mental, and emotional gentrification of black men in this culture that we live in. So, the reason that Donald Trump advocated for ASAP Rocky to be released is because he is the gentrified black man, meaning he's a good motherfucking coon nigga. It's just as simple as that. He dates white women. He does not like black women. Okay. And again, I don't personally have a problem with that. Most black men nowadays date interracially. I don't give a fuck about that. That's fine. They can do what they do. But I'm the occult view, and I'm looking at it from an occult aspect. So when you tie all of that in together and you really examine what's really going on, you see the hidden message. Now, since ASAP Rocky has been released, since he's been released, now he's saying, well, now this was a humbling experience, and I've learned something from this, and et cetera, et cetera, rah, 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 I've learned this, I've learned that. So now that entire ritual was designed to further emasculate him and to further emasculate the image of the so-called heterosexual black man. And I use the word so-called because in Hollywood you just never know, or in this industry you never know. I'm not, attacking the masculinity or the sexual orientation of black men. Let me be clear about that. Okay? Let me be clear about that. That's not what it is. I'm just saying so-called because you never know in this society. So now this was all a ritual to further emasculate and to humble black men so that they will be practically defenseless and more susceptible to the attacks from racist, non black men. It was all a ritual. That's the point that I'm making. And that's why Donald Trump intervened. He didn't intervene for no reason. He didn't intervene for no motherfucking reason because it was all a big motherfucking ritual to show the world that the black man in this country is a gentrified being. That's the narrative that they want to paint. I'm not saying that that is, the main case, although one could argue that it is. But that's the narrative that they want to paint to the world. That's why they had him over there for 30 days in a motherfucking jail cell without a trial. Basically, I read one report that he was in a cell with a mentally disturbed man who was throwing feces, meaning shit, all over the cell and all kinds of shit. Now, let me be clear about something. I'm not saying that he deserves any injustice because he doesn't. He deserves to be out of jail. Let me say that. He deserves it because he didn't do anything wrong. That motherfucker was fucking with him. But I'm just looking at it, like I said, from an occult aspect and the hidden message that's within it, that it's okay. And basically, that entire ritual is saying that it's okay for non black men to walk up to black men, harass them, and stalk them, but it's not okay for us to respond to it. They told that motherfucker 3 times to leave them alone. If it was a nigga that was doing that, they would have only told him once, if that. So now I'm assuming ASAP is going to probably apologize to this non black boy, and that's going to be all publicized, or maybe not, but he's going to apologize to him, which will further exacerbate the point that I have made for years that black men change their standards when it comes to white men. They're always willing to sit down and have a conversation respectfully with a white man or a non-black man in general. But when it comes to each other, we show nothing but disrespect, disregard, dismissive, funny, flaky fucking energy. Because I have to tell you, other black men have done a lot of fucked up shit to me in my life. They've done a lot of fucked up shit to me. And I haven't gotten an apology for most of this shit. But I guarantee you, and I'm past that, but I'm just making the point that now there's probably going to be this public apology to this non-black boy who was wrong in the first motherfucking place. So that is what I'm saying when I say that ASAP Rocky was released. He was released because that nigga is the personification of the gentrified modern day black man in America. And that's the narrative that's being painted for the rest of the motherfucking world. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump wanting to get him out because he's just a nice guy. It had nothing to do with Donald Trump doing it because he wanted to do it because of the kindness of his fucking heart. That had nothing to do with it. He was playing his part. Just like ASAP was playing his. He's under total motherfucking mind control and ritual and spells and every motherfucking thing else. I can look at him and tell. So I just wanted to talk about that. I just wanted to put that out there because I haven't heard anybody else say anything about it, and that's fine. But I just wanted to give my own 2 cents, the occult view of what was really going on with ASAP Rocky. the occult view. I'm not really a fan of his. Truth be told, I never really heard anything about him before, this incident. But I just wanted to give my occult view on what the fuck was really going on with him and why that entire shit took place. That was a deliberate, calculated, designed ritual in Sweden. That boy was put in place to follow him. That was all by motherfucking design. And that's all I have to say about it.